Yeah, here it is. This is, yeah, here it is. That's it, yeah. I will need to write something, so do we have a board or something like that if I need to write? Because sometimes the sutras enters easier that way. You can put it there because you may write. Yeah, Harinder may write some. Huh? Pāṇini? Pāṇini is not there. Okay. We will see what to do. Otherwise put it here, I will write. Yeah, you can put it here. It's a big thing. No, I'll have to get up. I will get up. I'll get up. It's not a problem. You can put it here. If we need to, I will do that. And I will turn the computer so people can see. We'll see that. Let us just wait and see how it all unfolds. To write? Okay. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yenakshara samamnayam adhigamya maheshwarat kritsnam vyakaranam proktam tasmai Pāṇinaye namaha. Yena dhauta giraf pumsam vimalai shabdavaribhihi tamaschagnānajam bhinnam tasmai Pāṇinaye namaha. Vakyakaram vararuchim bhāśyakaram patanjalim Pāṇinim sutrakarancha pranatosmi munitrayam. Shuklam varadharam vishnum shashivarnam chaturbhujam prasannavadanam dhyayet sarvavighnopashantaye. Saraswati namastubhyam varade kamarupini vidyarambham karishyami siddhir bhavatu me sada. do you want to try chanting the Maheshwara Sutras together? Yeah, we've been doing one by one, but let's do it together. Aivun. Together means along. Yeah. Together, not all of you together after me. Together means all of us together. Aivun. Ril rig. Eung. Ayauch. Hayavarat. Lan. Nyamagananam. Jhabhang. Ghadhadhash. Jabagadash. Kapha chhatha tha chatatau. Kapai shashasar hal iti maheshwarani sutrani. Vriddhiradaich. One more time. Adengunaha. One more time. You twice, I once. Vriddhiradaich. Adengunaha. Iko guna vriddhi. Yeah, these we have referred to. These are the first three sutras, and we have studied the first one. And I'm just going to recap what we learnt last time, is how to unpack a sutra, because I think this bears a little recalling, little repetition. And what is that? You first see its placement. Yeah, and the placement is very important. How do you see the placement? By the numbers that come after it. Because the Pāṇini's Ashtadhyayi, from which these sutras we are studying, is a book with 8 chapters. Okay? So if there is a sutra 1.3.2, it's the first book, third subsection of the first book and the second sutra. That is how, that placement becomes very important, because the Ashtadhyayi is a very interesting GPS. Full of pratyaharas and full of all kinds of rules. It's a GPS, it's a unique GPS to the Sanskrit language. And that's why everything is not in order, It's not even in grammatical order. Like I said, guna has to come before vriddhi, correct? But what comes here? Vriddhi comes before guna, and we saw the reason why vriddhi comes before guna. So like this, if you study the Ashtadhyayi, one sutra after another, it doesn't come chronologically. It looks haphazard. It looks haphazard because underlying this disorder, this so-called chaos, is a harmony which you will not find anywhere, except in Bhagavan, which is why we say these pratyaharas were received from Bhagavan himself. And so there is an underlying order which makes the chronological book order, that one order you have to give up for the sake of a greater order. So he has sacrificed the chronological order for the sake of the order of presenting the language. So that's why the placement in terms is very important, because as soon as you see, okay, this book number 3, immediately you know that it deals with certain topics. Book number 6, what it deals with. So like this, after studying certain things and the order in which it is presented, and the beauty and the depth and the profundity of this order becomes more and more evident after you start studying. In the beginning it may not be so available. So then, so we have to look at the placement of where the sutras come. And then the second thing to look at is what? Is the case endings of every single word except cha in the sutras. Why not look at the case ending of cha? Chaha, chau, che? No? It is nipata, indeclinable. So other than the indeclinables, tu, ha, vai, va, cha, you don't look at the case endings, but everything else, including the pratyahara itself, like ind, ind has cases. And you just, how does it decline? Not like Rama, like Marut. Yeah, like Marut it declines. And don't sit here and think, okay, is Aj feminine or masculine? It does not matter. As long as you know how it declines, that it declines like Marut, it's okay. Okay? And so therefore, so you have to look at the declensions. And why do you have to look at the declensions? Because the Pāṇinian language has a specific connection to the declensions and the way in which the declensions are used. So there is a regular seventh case. And what does that mean? Located in, right? Locative case. And there is a regular fifth case coming from. And there is a regular second case, object. There is a regular, sixth case, possession. But Pāṇini has played with them in a very, very exciting way. And what does he, like if you take one sutra, Iko Yan Achi, and I will write this. We are not going to study the sutra, I am just illustrating this. I am just illustrating what happens here. Yeah, you just hang in there, I will show you. You are not missing anything. Iko Yan I think it's 6187. Please confirm. So first we look at the number 6 having to do with sandhis, books number 6, subchapter number 4, and the 87th sutra. So what is it really saying? It is using two pratyaharas that we have studied. Okay, now let's address these people over here. If you can drag this, you can make them see this. That is very good. Thank you. This we have to disconnect and reconnect. That's okay. That can stay without it. I don't know what to do. I'm putting it on the floor. They can't see anything. Bring it closer, please.
6177.
6177. Yeah.
6177.
Yeah. I had a doubt. I knew the 7.
Yeah, 87 was.
What is 87?
I think that was green. My memory is not.
6177.
77.
Yeah. You cannot see.
Maybe the lights.
Now you can see. Iko Yan Achi. Adhunaha. Yeah, that is why I remembered that. Yeah, okay. So here, let us unpack this. Unpacking means first you desandhify it. Any sandhis are there have to be broken up. So where is the sandhi here in Iko Yan Achi? Huh? In this, is there a sandhi?
Yeah, the O.
Oh, so what is that O become? Ikaha. Yeah, aha, ikaha. Okay? Then, and there is no sandhi here. Sometimes these two are written together, yanachi, and then you have to write them separately. Here I have already written it separately. So, ikaha, which case?
So, first case. I don't know.
Marut.
Marut.
Yeah.
Then it can be many cases.
It can be many cases. That's exactly the answer I want to hear. Ikaha can be many, many cases.
Yeah.
So it can be what? Third case, it could be 1, 3, correct?
Yes.
It can be 2, 3,
Yeah.
correct? And
I will
5,
take
1,
first.
5, 1, and then
5-1 and then E
6-1.
6-1 also.
Yeah,
Yes.
also. Lots of possibilities. That leaves us to be a basket case. After looking at how to find out which cases, we can safely take away the first two possibilities, the plurals. Yeah. Why? Because we are dealing with pratyahara, correct? How many iks are there? Ik itself is, e, u, r, and the long ones. We already know that.
Yeah.
How many iks will be there? There is only one ik. All these pratyaharas are one of a kind. So we can take away the subject-object plural. Now the question is whether it's the fifth or the sixth. How do we know if it's because we know what the Pāṇinian sixth case means? Pāṇinian sixth case. No, that is the regular sixth case is sambandha. Pāṇinian sixth case, if it is used, so we'll determine this to be 6-1 because of the context and because we know what the Pāṇinian sixth case does. The Pāṇinian sixth case is a flag that says wherever you see the sixth case is the place for the operation of any changes that we are going to suggest. Yeah. So the ik becomes the place of change. Don't say eek, okay? Ik becomes the place of change, meaning, unpack ik for me please. What does it mean?
E.
I, u, and then r, and then l. So all these are not going to remain the same, correct? Yeah. And the Pāṇinian first case, now what is yan? First of all, yan is first case. Okay, so this is 6-1. Yan is just like Marut. So 1-1. 1-1. And what is achi? 7-1. Yeah, please memorize for the next class Marut, what's its name? Marut declension. Achi 7-1. Okay? Yeah. So 6-1, 1-1, 7-1. This is very interesting. Because this 1-1 means in place of ik, wherever you see ik, so in place of ik, sixth case means in place of ik, and the 1-1 is a substitution.
Okay.
Yeah, the first case usually is a substitution. There are of course several exceptions which we are not going to deal with. So don't worry. 1-1 is an exception, is a substitution. And the seventh case, the Pāṇinian seventh case, gives the conditions under which the substitution must or can occur. Tasmin iti nirdishte purvasya. Purvasya means it shows when something follows. So decoding this sutra becomes very interesting when we know this. And I chose this particularly because all this is here. And so what do we say? What does this really mean? Substitute ik with yan whenever aj follows. What? Substitute. Okay, let's unpack yan.
Okay. Yan.
What is yan?
Let's see. Yan is yeah, all the glides semi-vowels except for thoughts.
Yeah, so semi-vowels. Yan is semi-vowels. What are they? Yara, la, va. You should say it in order. So yara, la, va. Okay? And what is ach? Now that we are in the unpacking mode, let's put everything away.
Ach is all vowels.
All vowels. Okay? So, replace e, u, r, r by ya, ra, la, va whenever any vowel follows it. And we can't just, whenever you see e, you can't replace it, correct? Poor e, what has it done? It has not done anything wrong. It is, otherwise why even have e? You can just get rid of ik completely. Because if ik is supposed to be replaced by yan, then why should ik even exist, right? So yan has taken ik out of existence, so why should it even exist? So when any vowel follows, you keep replacing all the things e, u, wherever you see, you keep replacing, then what happens? Then there is no need for e at all. So therefore what? Therefore the 6177 becomes very, very important. Why? Because this is only in the context of this adhikara, which means samhitayam, in when sandhi is being discussed. Only in sandhi situations these kinds of, and then samhitayam is further unpacked, that's the sutra, as occurring inside a word or in between two words that can be joined together. And there are rules for which can and cannot. So this is, so further conditions come in the anuvritti, and so therefore this makes it, a sutra in a specific way. We are not studying this sutra, and I don't want you to, bother your head about these replacements, for this week. We are just illustrating it to show how to unpack it. Okay? Yeah. Then we have lot of fun, huh? Here. So those are the ways to unpack it. We have illustrated this again because it is extremely important to know that. Okay? Then we look at another important thing. Before we go to the study the sutras that we have in mind for this class, we look at another very important thing, which I think we can tackle right now. I had said we will see it later. Types of sutras. So open your notes to the beginning of the Pāṇini page where the types of sutras. So the first sutra is the first kind of sutra is a naming sutra. And what is that called? Samjñā. Samjñā means definition or name. What is samjñā? There are the words like guna. What is guna? We are not talking of sattva, rajas, tamas, right?
No, strengthening.
So that's a technical term. So that is what samjñā is. Like vriddhiradaij, it's a naming sutra. Adeng gunaha, naming sutra. It names the terms, technical terms used in grammatical operations, and that's all the sutra does. Its function is very simple and limited. It just names, and that's all it does.
Like ik is a some.
Yeah, you can say ik is a samjñā sutra. Those 14 are free, received from Bhagavan. So since it's received from Bhagavan, we don't categorize them. But if we had to, yes, they would be naming sutras. So categories start with vriddhiradaij. So vriddhiradaij, adeng gunaha samjñā sutra, And we take, and what is important in a samjñā is that you take an ordinary word and give it a different meaning. That's all it is. Like vriddhi. Vriddhi means growth, gain. But here we are not talking of any growth. except that of the vowel. So there is some connection, but guna has no connection. So we just give it a new meaning, Samgya Sutra. Then we have other sutras which are general rules. They are called Vidhi. Vidhi means then a kind of like operational, they discuss certain kind of operational rules. Like, for example, now we are studying ith letters, correct? What should happen to the ith letter? Should it come to the beginning? Should it stay where it is? Should it, be pronounced? Should it be silent? What is its function? And then 139 says, Tasya lopaha, means wherever you see ith letter, make it disappear in your mind and in the pronunciation itself. Tasya lopaha. So wherever there is an ith letter, we are going to study this sutra, so that's why I am using this to illustrate it. And so, wherever you see the ith letter, what do?
Make it disappear.
Elide it, make it disappear. Meaning, don't count it in the word. But then, why have it if you are not going to count it? Why have it? It's like making an elaborate meal and not eating it.
Because it refers to food.
It actually, what it does is has certain functions. And it does the functions because it indicates. That's why it's called indicatory letter. What does it indicate? It indicates certain functions. It indicates certain operations sometimes. It indicates the negation of certain operations. Like any kind of a ith letter that starts with a ka negates guna. In some places. So you know that you should not do guna even if there are guna letters. You just add the suffix, you don't do any guna operations. So like this, it has several functions. But it indicates the functions and that's all its purpose is. So the operational rule here, the general vidhi rule, vidhi sutras means the general rule that says that wherever you see this should happen. This is called Vidhi Sutra. Another example I have given here, Vartamane Lat. What is this Lat? All the tenses are divided into words, grammatical words that starts with La. Lat, Lang, Lot, etc. But then how do I know if I want to conjugate the present tense, which I should use? So then Vartamane Lat. If you are making the present tense, you use lat. That's the whole suffixes, endings coming from associated with what is called rules that apply to lat. So like this, use this affix. So this is what, and that lat changes to tiptas ji. The very next sutra is that. What is this tiptas ji? That is ti aha anti. Ti taha anti. That is tiptas ji. The tas here is a ith letter, the sa, it goes away and is replaced by visarga. It as though goes away. So anyhow, so this is how, this is called Vidhi Sutra. Then the other one, the next one is an exception sutra, Niyama. Niyama means such sutras restrict the meanings or the applications of broader terms. And they restrict it in certain conditions. There is a funny sutra, Sheshaha Ghi Asakhi in Karakas. So, Shesho Ghi Asakhi, it is written like that. So, what is this Sheshaha Ghi Asakhi? So there is a samgya. Samgya means a naming of something called ghee, not what you eat. Okay? Yeah. Ghee samgya for certain e-ending declensions. So those words that have ghee will behave in certain ways except for the word sakhi. I told you this yesterday in plain language. Generally, they are feminine or masculine except in certain. So, these exceptional sutras are called niyama. Okay? Yeah. Don't take it too seriously. These are just categories. Yeah. Don't go with don't catch hold of the sutra. We are not studying the sutras except as a example. And I am just, and I'm as much as possible, I'm trying to give the example with with what we are studying. So let's try to look for an example with the it letter only, which would be an exception. Okay. Upadeshe ajanunasika it. Supposing if I say, which I will very shortly. So, Upadeshe in the books of grammar, and we'll see what they are. Anunasikaha ach is called it. All nasalized vowels are called it. So here it is it is an exception because not all vowels. Because all vowels are not it, otherwise we'll be in terrible trouble. We won't be able to pronounce anything. We keep dropping the vowels, So what kind of vowels? Nasalized vowels. What are these nasalized vowels? Don't worry about it. Just go with the flow. Then there are certain small number, thankfully, of vague sutras called atidesha. And why are they vague? Because grammarians for 2000 years have sparred amongst themselves which one should be termed atidesha or not. And then if you look at there is a grammarian lineage. One is the Kashika lineage with the sage Kashika and all his interpretations, his followers, his devotees and his descendants, student wise I meant. And then there is the Laghu people, and they have a healthy argument as to which is where they will put some of these sutras. So atidesha is that extension. And atidesha means what? Up till now we saw that these sutras only apply to these conditions, but in this following sutra we are extending those conditions to make the student a little more confused. That's not the purpose. But you have to account for why certain rules apply to other things, So loto langavat means it is lot, mean the imperative, but treat it like past tense. What? Never mind. Moving on. Next. So when you study that particular sutra, it will be clear. Then this is a very important category. The next one is called Adhikara Sutra. Adhikara means a section. Yeah. Adhikara doesn't mean having Shama, Dhamma, Uparati, Titiksha, because the sutras are exempt from gaining Vedantic qualifications. Qualifications for Vedantic study. Good sutra sitting there has lot of Titiksha. No. This Adhikara is having to do with the broad scope of particular sutras that have the reign for certain number of sutras, like dhatoho, pratyayaha. This dhatoho starts from 3-1 and goes up to the end of 3-4. The dhatoho keeps going. Everywhere it comes down, and that coming down is called anuvritti. Carries over. It's like mathematics, you have one carrying over, so it's like here dhatoho, that the purview of this adhikara, its purview, its reign. Adhikara means governance. That area which it governs is large. Even our little it has a impressive 5 sutra adhikara. Yeah. So you start with 1-3-2, Upadeshe ajananasika it. That's the only time it is used. And then the next one is halantyam, and then it, Upadeshe has to come down. Upadeshe, halantyam has to come down. And then what? Na vibhaktau tusmaha, it has to come down, correct? And then adir nitudavaha, again it comes down. Upadeshe, it comes down. Lashakvatadhite, Upadeshe, it comes down. Chutu, Upadeshe, it comes down. Tasya lopaha, Upadeshe, it comes down. Itaha lopaha. So you see that, and there it's, then it is gone into the sunset. No more it adhikara. So the it adhikara comes from 132 to 139. It rains. So do you understand what adhikara sutra is?
Yeah, but how do we know that it rains?
Because you will learn this now. Now you take it, take it with a pinch of salt and see for yourself when it starts to come. Yeah. Then that's why I put this off till today, because if we had done this in the first class, no, we would not have understood anything. Then we have paribhasha. Paribhasha means understanding the areas where a certain rule applies. What applies where? The scope, because these are meta rules, big rules. And then because the rule should not be over applied and neither should it be under applied, the sutra, it has a particular scope. And then sometimes there are two sutras that compete for that same particular operation. Then which one are you going to apply? So then we have to turn to these smaller delineating interpretive rules. Purvatra siddham. My God, what is this? Up till now, whatever you have studied, please forget about it just for the 8th chapter. It has separate rules. It is not going to look at those rules. Vipratishedhe param karyam. When there is a conflict, use the latter rule. The latter rule prevails. When there is a conflict of operation between two rules. These are called paribhasha. Then we have nishedha. What is nishedha? Negation. What is negation? Nishedha. So what is nishedha here? When you have a rule, but you don't want it to be applied in certain situations. Ajanunasika it. All nasalized vowels are it. Okay? Halantyam it. All consonant ending, consonant ending. Endings are it. Oh. Na vibhaktau. Not in certain situations. Not in the declensions. Vibhakti means declensions. Not in the declensions which end in takara, sakara or For ease of articulation it is said makara, but really it's So anything ending in don't drop. Like we have a word Ramaha. How did that come? Rama plus su, nasalized vowel. Su. How do you know it's nasalized? Because it was an oral language. And now we put a half moon and a dot to show that nasalization. Rama plus su, and then as soon as you see this funny nasalized su, what do? You drop that correct? And then what do you have? Ramas, correct? And by the next rule, halantyam, you drop that as well. Then you cannot conjugate Rama at all. So here it says, don't drop the sakara. Yes. And then there are 3 more sutras, how that replacement happens, Sashajushoho ruhu. Replace it by ruhu. Sasajushoho ruhu. Exactly. What's the next one? Khara avasanayoho visarjaniyaha. So first it becomes Ramas, then it becomes Ramar by this khara what is that? By Sasajushoho ruhu. And then it becomes Ramar because replace the sa with ru. The ru goes away. Ru, r, Ramar. And then what? The ra becomes with khara avasanayoho visarjaniyaha. So wherever there is khar and and it's not followed by anything else, avasana. turn it into aha visarga. And there is one more rule, visarjaniyasya saha, but that is a sandhi rule for later, don't put that in here. So then that Ramasu becomes Ramas, becomes Ramar, and then becomes Ramaha, first case. Yes. And all this we would not be living to tell the tale had we elided that Ramas because it is Halantyam. Correct? So this is how that was called a Nishedha. Then we have Vibhasha. Vibhasha means optional, rules. Meaning it is okay if you do it, and in very few cases, and it's okay if you don't do it. Like sometimes we have spelling, like the word dialogue can be spelled how? D-I-A-L-O-G or D-I, which we don't like, but that's how in America they spell it, dialogue. Or we can spell it the traditional way, which is D-I-A-L-O-G-U-E. Okay, let's not arg. So, so here we have only in some places that option is there. That's why it showed that, to show you that. You can't drop it in argue, You can't drop the UE in argue. Can you do that? Then it's not a word, there is no vibhasha there. But in dialogue, there is vibhasha. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah, there is vibhasha. Means this option is there, but those options are not there everywhere. Few places they are there. Finally, there are some ad hoc, last minute made up rules, what look like they were made up at the last minute, but they are not, which are there only for exceptional situations. And if you want to find them, go look at the second conjugation, Pāṇini rules, because there is one rule for every word. Ad hoc, because the second conjugation is famous for being so irregular that its irregularity becomes a regularity. Any questions up till now? That was a lot. Huh? Too much confusion, yeah.
Is there a place where each sutra is defined as one of these types?
It is in the lore of the grammarians, and when you study that this grammar according to the texts, the interpretive texts of the advanced grammarians, then they will tell you. They will say pari at the end of the sutra, paribhasha. So immediately you know. And some of them don't believe in telling you. You have to find out yourself. Maybe the answers are upside down, like crossword puzzles. You first figure it out and then you turn the page. Huh? Yeah, so the Kashika Bhaimi will tell you, Laghu will not. And so therefore, certain kinds of, some grammarians will say, this is paribhasha, and sometimes it makes no difference. This is just just something to understand, to understand the scope of the different kinds. It's like having a treatise on various kinds of candy, white chocolate, dark chocolate, milk chocolate, bonbons and marzipan and all these things. So in that context, this is the various kinds of sutras. I'm trying to make them appetizing. And so these are the various kinds of sutras. So what we have in this section is an array, an array. So so we can come a little closer to appreciating Pāṇini, to see the vast, the wisdom in this arrangement, and why these kinds of operations are needed. And also we also see what the scope of this work is and what kinds of rules this has. That's all it is. It's just a general introduction. And I'm glad we waited till now, because if I had done it in the beginning, it would have been even more confusing. How do I know? Trust me. Yeah, just through experience of doing things the other way and then finding out it doesn't work, so, doing this. So now let us open to this page with the sutras that we are going to study. Everybody should have this page. I don't know which page it is in the text. And we are going to repeat these and study these. I will say once and you will repeat twice. Vriddhiradeich Adengunaha. From now on. Yeah. Upadeshe Ajanunasika It
Upadeshe Ajanunasika It
Halantyam Na vibhaktau tu smaha Adir nitudavaha Shaf pratyayasya Chutu Lashakvatadhite Tasya lopaha. Yeah. So these are what we are going to study. So with that introduction, let's embark upon the first sutra for today, which is 132. What is 132? Upadeshe Ajanunasika It. Back to the drawing board, literally. Any sandhis here? First we'll find the position 132 with prakarnam. Any sandhis here? Yeah, I should have done an elision, but okay. So there was one sandhi here that's taken care of. Anything else?
Nahasika. No.
No, nasika. Nasika means nose. Yeah. Don't break the nose.
Don't break.
Yeah. Is there a sandhi here?
Kaha.
Kaha. Yes. So there is here one more. We have decoded that. Upadeshe Aj. One more sandhi is there. Please find. Where is it? Lopaschakalyasya. No, it's not a. I don't think it's a vibhasha. Yeah. It's Shakalya is a grammarian. So he is giving his respects to the grammarian by saying this is not my lopa. This is Shakalya had already had this. Yeah. So Upadeshe. Is there any other sandhis? No. Look. Upadeshe Ajanunasika It. What is here? So Upadeshe, this Aj becomes Aj. Upadeshe Aj Anunasikaha it. Okay, so I'm going to write this down.
Oh.
Upadeshe ach. I don't know if you're able to see.
The brightness is up over this one.
Upadeshe ach. I think that's enough. Anu nasi anunasikaha it. Okay. Now case endings. Upadeshe, which case?
Oh, lock.
Locative. Yeah.
Yeah.
So say it. Locative means what? Which case?
In 7.
7. 7 1, 7 2, 7 3.
7 1.
7 1. Upadeshe. Ach. Which case?
Which case? Is it like Marut?
Just like Marut.
First?
Okay. First what? 1 1, 1 2, 1 3.
1
1 1. Anunasikaha.
6.
Like Rama.
Rama.
Yeah.
1.
1 what?
1
1 1. It.
It's
Marut.
Marut.
You won't say Marut. I am saying Marut. You
Okay,
don't say
I'm
Marut.
saying
Which?
Huh?
Which Marut? Okay.
How many Maruts are there? How many?
1 1.
Ah, that's better. 1 1. So 7 1, 1 1, 1 1, 1 1. Okay? Just to know where we stand. And before we go further, I'll tell you Upadeshe is not used in the Pāṇini 7th case. One of the few examples. Upadeshe just means in the books of grammar. You know? And what is this books of grammar? Pāṇini wrote several books. One is called Ashtadhyayi, which we are studying here. And the second one is something determining gender called Linganushasana. Then he wrote something on pronunciation, Shiksha, Ganapata. And then he wrote Dhatu Patha, verbal roots books, defining verbal roots. And then finally, a catch-all called Unadi Sutras, where all these other sutras don't apply. So these 5 books together are called Upadesha. And in the grammar, he refers to it as Upadesha. So means not only when you see the nasalized vowel in Ashtadhyayi, but if you see it in Linganushasana, Unadi Sutra, it's the same rule. Okay? So this is the first definition of what an it letter is, because there are many kinds of it letters and many ways in which they are articulated. So the first definition of an it letter is, so let us just write the translation down for this. In the books of grammar, Pāṇini grammar, yeah. A nasalized vowel, anunasikaha ach. Okay? A nasalized vowel is an it letter. So may you consider all nasalized vowels as it letter. And one example I have already given. Like soon. What is this soon? The first case ending. First case ending suffix is soon. So this is a nasalized vowel. And so what happens to this?
Closer.
Yeah, how does it go away? What does it become then? If you take away that,
So,
it becomes just is. Okay? So, upadeshe ach. Upadeshe, in the books of grammar, any anunasika, ach, please consider that and as an indicatory letter. So this shows that the language was tonal. It's still tonal, especially if you look at the Vedic chanting. You know the tones that go up and swaras. So along with the swaras, it was also tonal in the sense of nasal. And all those nasalized vowels, and it doesn't say where their occurrence is. This is very interesting. It doesn't show the placement of the nasalized vowel, whether it's in the beginning or in the end, but please consider the nasalized vowels as it in the grammar. Okay? This much understood?
But,
Yes?
so does that mean there are other it letters than the ones that are in the 14?
Yes, those are not it letters. Those are pratyaharas. Those are little units of mega building blocks to classify the words. And yes, each of them has an it letter at the end. And that is just one particular example of the it letter which is in the next sutra.
Oh,
So those are all not it letters. Only the last thing is the it letter. For example, ach, ik, yan. So the k, that end, the final consonant is the it. So look at all the pratyaharas now, please.
right.
Yeah, look at all the pratyaharas and you will see that the final consonant is
Right.
the it letter, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but here we are not even talking of consonant.
Oh, that's true.
Here we are only talking of vowels.
Yeah.
So the next sutra, which we will be studying on Saturday, which is called, I'll write it down today and we'll just decode it, unpack it and keep it ready. Open the gift and keep it ready for enjoying on Saturday. So we have the next one is called Halantyam. And this doesn't have 1, 3, 3. And you know this doesn't have a sandhi, but it has a compound which has to be unpacked. You know, details. Hal, ante, yasya. A consonant is at the end of which is called halantyam. Huh? Say. Huh? Bahubrehi. Yes, definitely Bahubrehi. Hal ante yasya. That Bahubrehi samasa. That which has a consonant at the end. That which has a consonant at the end. Hal means consonant, correct? Am I right?
Right.
Does hal mean vowel? No. Hal means consonant. Hal, ante means at the end, in the end. Ante, yasya. Or you can even say asya. Doesn't matter. So hal, ante, yasya. Yasya means for which? That which, yasya, that which has, you know, a consonant at the end. So the last consonant, the final consonant, may be considered an it letter. And there are two presents that come down, you know, hand-me-downs called anuvritti. What shall come down here?
It.
It comes down, very good. Halantyam, it. Is there anything else comes down? Upadeshe comes down. Very nice. Ach comes down. Let's bring ach also down. Huh? No, of course not. Because here we are talking of consonants and we cannot mix the vowels and the consonants. Alright? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Yeah, so this exercises the brain cells in such a way that no one will be able to defeat you in an argument at home. So that is one more reason to study Pāṇini, is to win all the arguments with the significant other and the family members. Yes, really, because if you start thinking like this, why doesn't ach come down? Because, and then what happens? You become free of being defeated in arguments. Yeah, any questions? So I'll tell you something. For if you want to decode Vibhasha Sutras, then you look for 3 words. Vibhasha it will say, or Anyatarasyam it will say, or it will simply say Va. So these 3 words, if they are there, then it is a Vibhasha Sutra. Yeah, that rule may be optional. That's fine, that is optional. But Vibhasha generally is referred to the 3. You can consider that optional, no problem. The Vibhasha refers to these 3 kinds of words which are there. Vibhasha he will say, or he will say Anyatarasyam, or he will say Va. So, Lopashakalyasya also you can consider it, yeah, Vibhasha Sutra, no problem. But technically speaking, the 3 words that are used, okay? Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah. Oh.